welcome to a discussion of our activism project here at Unity. We want to really promote awareness of what has to happen among human beings to be caring for the earth and for each other. And we're so acutely aware of this, all of us really, and it's a pain, it's an anxiety, it's a fear, it's a concern that we carry. And it's something that really develops your spirituality to apply spiritual awareness to these matters. And that's what we're committed to here at Unity, to stay uplifted, to be an attractor for the highest good, the greater good for all, and to keep ourselves um, thinking and aware of what we can do to improve the entire situation on all, in all areas. But what happened was, I just want to sort of trace the steps of where we've been. Um, what happened was we decided to have a, a service in the round, a discussion group for a Sunday gathering. And my daughter Becky was here visiting me, and she shared the journey that she's been on to protect the trees in the city of Los Angeles where she lives, which were getting pruned improperly. And they were getting pruned and cut back so severely that it was going to threaten their life. They looked like they were all going to die. All the trees would just be ruined. So she had to get involved with the local politics, the city council, the neighborhood councils, the sanitation commission, and that was a whole long story that I won't go into right now. But her sharing that experience brought out almost everyone in our congregation to express how concerned they are about the direction that we seem to be going in and not pulling back. And so we declared at that gathering that we would have an ongoing discussion group, and that includes us all. You're all in the discussion group, whether you know us or not. An ongoing conversation about what we can all do to improve our environment and our society. So the first thing that we started talking about was to avoid the single-use plastics, and especially in food service in restaurants. So we've taken on a commitment to encourage everyone and to develop in ourselves the habit of, when we go to a restaurant, take our own take-home container so that the restaurant does not have to put something out into the environment that's just another throwaway. It might be plastic, it might not. But whether it is or not, we can still cut back on that kind of single-use container. And the same with straws. So it's interesting, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, we had a little meeting and people divided up the city and said they wanted to contact all the restaurants and find out if they were using plastic straws and if they were interested in using paper straws, and we could help them to find out how much that would cost and, get the money together for them to make the switch. And since then, every time I go to a restaurant, I notice that they've stopped giving out straws, places I've been going. And when they do give a straw, it's a paper straw. So maybe somehow that thought was in the air and it caught on. But that is one of the things that we want to follow up on, is we set an intention for ourselves. But before we go out and partner with people in the community, we wanted to have a name, have an identity, So we could say, I'm not just, some man on the street or woman on the street. I represent a group of people. So we're coming up with a name. This coming Sunday, I'm going to put a little slip in all of our program folders so people can vote on what name we want to use for ourselves. Right now, we're kind of leaning towards calling ourselves Earth Care, because that's actually a program in the Unity Worldwide Ministries that they offer to churches to do. And we, up until now, we haven't really engaged with that. But that program is a model of steps you can take to be designated as level 1, and then level 2, and then level 3 of Earth Care ambassadors who practice these things in our own church, and we'll be doing that as well. But we're already pretty careful. We've, all of us have been so sensitive. Spirituality makes you sensitive. You can't poison the environment. You can't put trash into the waste stream. When you're sensitive to the beauty and to the sacredness of the earth and of the environment in which you live. But what we want to do now is promote more awareness community-wide, and ourselves, like we have one thing called the 10 Commandments of sustainability, and one of them is thou shalt take shopping bags when thou makes purchases to the store, so that we don't keep, having plastic bags, plastic containers that continue to fill up the waste stream, going into the ocean, and our marine life are drowning in it, are suffocating in it. And we all know this, but here at the grassroots level, we want to really brace ourselves to reduce our use of plastics and find out everything we can about environmental sustainability and earth care. And to that end, we started we have 2 little newsletters. Okay. One is a report on our first meeting, and one is a handout that we're doing this week and next week about climate change, how to respond to climate change. This is an article. It's kind of a distillation of an article from the Atlantic Monthly about global warming. And I'm going to read you some excerpts from it, because, some people think that global warming is just part of the natural life cycles of the planet. True, there are cycles of climate change in the planet, but we cannot ignore what we have done to contribute to extremely rapid warming of the atmosphere. So here it is. A lot of the trendy global warming solutions do not make the biggest impact. While it's beneficial to cut your plastic straw usage, they only account for like 0.0025% of the plastic in our oceans, according to the Atlantic. Not to mention, our plastic problem barely makes a dent in rising temperatures. So what does? Global warming explained. Let's start from the beginning. Global warming is caused by too many greenhouse gases in our atmosphere, also known as gases that trap, heat, and warm our planet. The number one sector responsible for greenhouse gas emissions is the U.S., transportation, and cars account for 82% of this. According to the United States Environmental Protection Agency, electricity production comes at a close second. Why do transportation and electricity harm our planet so much? To generate power for these sectors, you will need to burn fossil fuels like oil, gas, or coal. Burning fossil fuels releases carbon dioxide, which makes up 82% of the gases in our atmosphere that trap heat, according to the EPA. In other words, too much transportation and electricity means too many gases in our atmosphere that warm our planet. But there are other causes of global warming too. While carbon dioxide takes up most of the headlines, there's another greenhouse gas that's seriously warming our planet: methane. It's responsible for about 20% of global warming, according to National Geographic. And a big portion of methane comes from cows. More on that later, it says. So, who is emitting the most greenhouse gases? Consider this. The U.S. is responsible for the highest number of emissions, and Americans have the highest carbon footprint per capita. 100 companies, most of them oil and coal producers, are responsible for 71% of the world's greenhouse gas emissions. A large chunk of our world's emissions can be traced back to a few main sources: cars, electricity, coal and oil producers, carbon dioxide, methane, and U.S. citizens. To stop global warming, we must target these sources. The best global warming solutions. Now here they give us actual solutions, okay. To figure out the most impactful global warming solutions, we looked into the behaviors that have the highest impact on the biggest causes. For example, we asked, what is the most impactful way for individuals to cut down electricity usage? And while things like composting, smart thermostats, and recycling help our planet, they do not address the biggest sources of global warming as much as other solutions do. We also asked which one of these high-impact solutions are realistic for individuals to implement right now. While there are some super impactful solutions that aren't on this list, such as wind turbines, solar farms, and regenerative agriculture, we purposely omitted them because they're impossible to implement at an individual level. While you'd ideally implement all of the following solutions, the truth is it's difficult to live a life optimized for sustainability. Maybe driving a car is the only way you can get to work, or it's too difficult for you to lower your heating bill in the winter. That's okay. Not everyone can do everything. The most important thing is that we all do the most we can to help save our Earth. So here's a toolbox of the most impactful solutions for global warming, in no particular order, that you can do today and pick and choose as you see fit. Okay, so we just have two. And next week, we're going to print the rest of this article and have the rest of the things they say you can do that are the most impactful. So it's very interesting. What do you think it is? The number one thing they give. Plant trees. What to do? Plant trees in tropical rainforests in Brazil, Indonesia, India, Colombia, and Madagascar. If you plant trees through treat 'em, you can choose the type of tree you plant based on how much carbon it removes from the atmosphere. Protect what remains of our existing tropical rainforests through nonprofits such as Cool Earth. Why it's impactful? Reforestation is the most cost-effective way to prevent global warming, according to research presented at the American Association for the Advancement of Science conference. Why? Trees absorb carbon dioxide, which makes up 82% of greenhouse gases in our atmosphere. So planting more trees can help reduce the amount of carbon in our atmosphere. In fact, we could remove roughly 2/3 of the human-made carbon just by letting all forests regrow. According to a study published in the Journal of Science. Yep, 2/3. Plus, as Jaron Pazzi from Treatum told us, trees do more than absorb carbon. When planted in sustainable agroforestry systems, they result in enhanced biodiversity, water retention, soil health, food security, and economic development for local communities, unquote. But not all forests are created equal. Some remove carbon from our atmosphere more effectively than others. According to a paper published in Science Advances, tropical forests in countries like Brazil, Indonesia, and India will most efficiently pull carbon out of the atmosphere since they're home to a huge amount of biodiversity and play a major role in the planet's air and water cycle. Okay, number 2 is create more sustainable habits. You knew this one was coming. What to do? Do at least one of these things. Instead of ordering a private ride, do a ride share. Avoid rapid acceleration and braking and turn on cruise control on larger trips when you drive a car. Walk and bike to your destination whenever possible. When buying a new car, choose a climate-friendly option. And why it's impactful. As aforementioned, cars are one of the biggest contributors to climate change. 82% of emissions from transportation come from cars. And while cutting automotive transportation out of your life would make the most impact, this isn't possible for most people. So instead, tweak a few habits that will have a bigger collective impact. For example, if you refrain from harsh braking and rapid acceleration, you can cut your fuel consumption by as much as 40%. According to the U.S. Department of Energy, if you also keep your tires inflated and your car maintained, you'll cut your fuel consumption by nearly half when driving. So how about that, huh? So we just invite you to connect with us in heart level, into your heart level. And let's stand together in this to be mindful, to reduce the waste stream, reduce the use of fossil fuels, protect our earth, plant more trees, do everything we can to learn more about how to be sustainable, and do everything we can to adopt these practices as habits that we do consistently. We do care, don't we? We care about the earth. We care about all of humanity. And it does feel good to rise above the worries and the conflicts, to know that you're committed to being in a cohesive collaboration with all of humanity. Because, spirituality is the realization of oneness. The cosmic experience is seeing yourself connected to the whole, to the allness, to the cosmos. And we are a little part of that cosmos here on Earth. We have a beautiful ecosystem, and we are a part of it. And we want to be a worthy part of it. And we want to contribute to it with love and integrity. So thank you for watching this video. And you can always contact us. Send me an email at Reverend Diane Stark. That goes REVDIANESTARK @gmail.com. You can call us at the office. We're not often actually in the office because I work from home a lot, but the office number is 231-759-7356. So bless us all. Bye-bye.